and like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Oh, I didn't come in for this. They putting it everywhere.
Put a ticket in, make a name gay!
What up, though? It's your boy Big Snoop D-O-double-G.
Snoop catching some heat for comments he made about LGBTQ representation on the It's Giving podcast. The rapper explaining his shock at seeing lesbian parents depicted on screen. The scene from the 2022 film marked Disney's first same-sex kiss. The moment was almost axed from the theatrical cut, but Pixar employees protested and got it reinstated. Snoop's hot take sparked criticism in the comments. One user saying, "It isn't that hard to explain. Science." Another chiming in with, "Being afraid of gay parents in movies is crazy." In this reply, he was probably smoking weed while watching the movie.
Snoop Dogg commits the cardinal sin and comes out against putting LGBTQ plus propaganda into children's movies. And of course, this action, while incredibly based, has enraged the left. But before we get these clips, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this video so we can get through the algorithms. Here we go.
I took my grandson to see, what was the movie with Buzz Lightyear?
Toy Story?
Not that one, but
the new Buzz. The Lightyear. I think it's called Lightyear.
Yeah, Kiki Palmer's in that movie.
Okay.
She plays like the daughter. So we watching it, and the lady, which is Kiki's mama, they move on into the space years, they move down the line, they're like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, shit. I didn't come in for this shit. I just came and watched the goddamn movie. Hey, man, watch the movie. They just said she had a baby. They both women. How did she have a baby? Shh. The movie ain't over with. So it's like, it's fuck me. I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle of shit that I don't have an answer for.
So, of course, that simple statement has caused the left to completely melt down, and you start to see headlines like this: Snoop Dogg exposed as homophobic after lamenting about LGBTQ plus scene in Disney's Lightyear. Okay, but of course, this is what the left and the Democrats always try to do. They try to say that, oh, if you're against putting all of this garbage into children's movies, that makes you homophobic or transphobic or whatever the phobe happens to be at this point in time. And that's not what we're saying at all. If you want to do this stuff, you go ahead, but it shouldn't be inundated into our children's media, right? Into our children's minds or into our children's classrooms, because basically this is not normal. At the very first segment, you heard someone saying, oh, this is all just science, Snoop Dogg. You should totally accept it. And that's kind of true, right? Science has progressed to this point where, yes, women are able to have babies without men. Although not really. You still have to have the sperm samples, okay? So men are still needed in this process. So you want Snoop Dogg to sit down with his 4 or 5-year-old and explain, well, a man had to go ahead and ejaculate into a cup, and then that cup was then spun around to condense the sperm count. We're able to take that sperm count and inject it into an egg and then implant it into the mother. And now they were able to have a child, but it only belongs genetically to one of them, not to both of them. That's totally the conversation that I'm sure Snoop Dogg wants to have with his grandchild, right? But it's only science, okay? So what we have to understand is that the agenda above all else is what mattered at that point in time. But Disney, of course, has done a complete 180 on this now because they've been losing too much money. And as you also heard in the beginning clip, Disney was going to take out that scene, but Pixar, oh, they protested. We have to have the gay stuff in the movie, okay? But now Disney is waking up a little bit and saying, you know what? We're not going to put this stuff into our movies because it's like kryptonite to families. So over here, yes, Disney pulls the transgender storyline from Pixar's Win or Lose streaming series, okay? It was in there. They took it out because they actually wanted people to watch it. Now, I don't know how many views this thing actually got, and I don't care because I turned off Disney a long time ago, right? Unless they do a big mea culpa, I am not taking my family back to see any of these Disney products. But of course, to the left, all of this is completely unacceptable because you have to either be all in or you're all against, as can be seen here in these wonderful meltdowns.
Snoop Dogg, when will you stop disappointing me? Let's look at the direct quote. He said, I didn't come here for this. I just came here to watch the movie. So that's like, F me, I'm scared to go to the movies now. Y'all throwing me in the middle of this that I don't have an answer for. It threw me for a loop. These are kids. Do we have to show that at that age? They're going to ask questions. I don't have the answers. They're putting it everywhere. I honestly don't even know where to begin, but I'm gonna try. Can someone tell Snoop that having to explain how queer couples have kids is actually way less sexual and complicated than straight couples? You can go with adoption. In the case of the movie Lightyear, which he's referring to, you could just say a simple, sometimes science can help. Because kids are a lot smarter and a lot more understanding than adults give them credit for.
So something very tragic just happened to Snoop Dogg. He said if him up. He took his grandkids to see a kids movie, and it featured two mothers, a lesbian couple, just playing the role of mothers. He said if me up and threw me into shit I don't have an answer for, and they're putting this shit out there everywhere. I want to give some perspective to Snoop Dogg. You should maybe focus on your decision to perform at the inauguration of a man who's leading a party that's attracting every deviant out there. Every deviant that's abusing children, every deviant that is trying to take the rights away from your granddaughters and from any of your dark-complected grandkids.
So rather than being upset at, say, Gavin Newsom's lack of response to helping people who are the victim of wildfires in California, or rather than being upset that, all these blue cities are being overrun with crime, and rather than being upset that, we actually have foreign invaders coming into this country, rather than caring about any of that, we're going to get really mad and pissed off about Snoop Dogg not wanting to have his grandkids who are really young exposed to the LGBTQ plus garbage. And by the way, I don't have any love for Snoop Dogg myself. I think the way he spoke about women and sung about women is not something that should be emulated, okay? But he's definitely right on this topic. Now, one thing that is actually funny as well is that the simple fact that I would have loved to shown a longer clip of that Snoop Dogg interview. However, it's from the It's Giving podcast, and they actually edited that scene out on YouTube, right? You cannot find it. I had to take it from Don Luker over there on his X account, all right, just to get that clip because it has been scrubbed from the internet, and I couldn't find it on the Internet Archive either. And to me, that's actually the bigger part of this story, right? Because you have a very famous person going on a relatively small podcast and making these statements, right? So did Snoop Dogg actually ask her to take it down over there on the podcast? Or did she do it herself because she was afraid of backlash? Or was the video flagged by YouTube and she had to cut it out just to get monetized, right? This type of thing does happen an awful lot, and I've had to deal with it, okay? So of course, that to me is the much bigger issue. Are people able to speak their mind freely and put it up on a platform like YouTube? And of course, that remains to be seen. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.